So, as I've said for about the past month, once Bungie really started tumbling, you know, the Bungie fallout, it was always expected of me for us to continue to get some wild information out of this situation. As there seemed like a significant downfall of what from where Bungie used to be to where they are now, and usually that's a pretty good indicator. There's quite amount of discourse and probably some bad stuff happening within a corporation, and obviously we're talking video games, so for this developer, we've read numerous things now where apparently they quite possibly misinformed Sony of what their actual value was at the time of their being purchased by Sony, things like that. Bungie. Yeah, nice, dude. Well played. And through things like their CEO Parsons, so is it Pete Parsons, I think is his name, just being kind of coming off as quite a douchebag. I don't know what better way to state it. While they've been firing people off, he's just been going out and just spreading cash around and buying all kinds of cars, and even to the point of like asking employees that he quite, I think, obviously knew were going to be fired to come check his cars out with him days before they were let go and stuff. Like, I mean, he seems like just an absolute treat to have to work underneath, let me tell you what. But obviously I don't know him personally, but outside looking in, it seems like quite the individual, I must say. So there's been a lot of stuff that's already come out about this whole Bungie situation. I mean, even to the point of way before the actual fallout here, when things were starting to hit the fan, we were getting quotes coming out of, you know, when layoffs first started happening. People in these meetings about the layoffs were asking, you know, are we doing anything to try and save employees' jobs? You know, are executives taking pay cuts? And the response, literal response that they got were, we're not that kind of company. Right. So, I mean, we've seen this coming for a while. I think there have been a lot of signs that Bungie was collapsing, and as they really started to fold here. I was saying the whole time, I think we're going to continue to get some information about what has really been going on inside that studio for it to fall so quickly, you know. And here's another example of it. Yeah, psych, for sure. Bungie reportedly fired Marathon reboot director Chris Barrett for unwanted and inappropriate messages to female staff. Quote, if anyone ever felt that way about their interaction with me, I am truly sorry, says Barrett. Yeah. So, back in March, Bungie announced a leadership reshuffle on their Marathon reboot project, with former Valorant dev Joe Ziegler replacing veteran Bungie designer Christopher Barrett as director. It seems there was more to that story than concern about the progress of Marathon. According to a new Bloomberg report citing anonymous sources, Barrett was in fact fired this spring after he was accused by several female Bungie staff of inappropriate behavior. What does inappropriate behavior mean? According to two of Bloomberg's sources, it means unwanted comments upon the appearance of lower-level employees, requests to hang out together, suggestions that he could use his wealth and power to advance their careers, and invitations to play Truth or Dare. Wow. This individual should never be hired again. Ever. According to Bloomberg sources, Barrett would befriend women in various Bungie departments and bombard them with text messages, which the site says, quote, blurred the lines between professional and personal. Several people interviewed described Barrett's advances as unwanted and said that they felt uncomfortable given Barrett's greater seniority at Bungie. Bloomberg have reviewed some of the text messages in question, but aren't sharing details to avoid exposing their recipients. Bloomberg claims that Barrett was eventually let go following an internal investigation in which at least 8 women raised complaints about him. The unfortunate thing here is if 8 women came forward to raise complaints, that means that there's almost definitely others that were too scared to come forward as well. That's almost always the case. Usually if one person comes forward, that's why other people come forward too. But there's almost always going to be people that, for some reason or another, are not comfortable with bringing their issues that they've had with this individual to light as well. So there are more than likely more than this number, right? The last bit is according to 8 sources, including both some of the women who reported Barrett and others who were involved with the investigation or spoke to the women who raised complaints. Barrett's departure was kept quiet. Certain Bungie staff apparently thought that he had gone on sabbatical, but then discovered that his company accounts had been disabled. Bro. In a statement to Bloomberg, Barrett both pushed back against the claims and apologized for his behavior. I feel that I have always conducted myself with integrity and been respectful and supportive of my colleagues, many of whom I consider my closest friends. He wrote, I never understood my communications to be unwanted, and I would never have thought they could possibly have made anyone feel uncomfortable. If anyone ever felt that way about their interaction with me, I am truly sorry. Right. Well, now you are. Now you are. Bungie parent Sony Interactive Entertainment, meanwhile, have told Bloomberg they take all complaints of misconduct very seriously and that it is our policy and practice to investigate every complaint promptly and take action based on the findings of our investigation without commenting on Barrett's case in particular. Oh yeah, for sure, Ferret. For sure. It's like with most people, they're not really sorry, right? They know what they're doing, right? But there are almost always, inevitably, unfortunately, sometimes much too late, repercussions for people acting this way. And then they're always going to act like, I didn't really do that stuff, but if I did offend anybody, I'm so sorry. You know what I mean? I don't think it's a fluke, that there, 8 people coming forward with these allegations and apparently text messages to prove it, It's not clear how far back Barrett's alleged misbehavior goes. Yeah, again, this is another thing. How long has he been doing this? How long was he doing it at maybe other places he worked before it was Bungie? I don't know. I don't know what his background is, where all he's worked, things like that. But this isn't the first time we've heard about predatory behavior at Bungie. Back in 2021, IGN published an extensive report on life at the Destiny studio, citing 26 current and former staff. Those interviewed shared experiences of overt sexism, boys club culture, crunch, and HR protection of abusers, as well as more complex stories of microaggressions, systemic inequalities, and difficulties in being heard. You know what this sounds like? Thanks, Ike. This sounds very similar to Blizzard. You guys remember the early 2020 Blizzard debacle? A lot of the same kind of stuff was being reported there. Remember all the, lawsuits that came down against them, all the, I mean, even from the state level, California imposed a bunch of business-related fines and stuff on them as well for basically being able to prove that they were not taking care of their employees, not, you know, following up on reports, things like that. It was terrible. This is the same kind of stuff right here. Yeah, I think that's more what, I mean, I'll pull up a definition of it. But I think Ferret's right. Microaggression. A statement, action, or incident regarded as an instance of indirect, subtle, or unintentional discrimination against members of a marginalized group such as a racial or ethnic minority. Indirect, subtle, or unintentional discrimination. Yeah. Microaggression. The news about Barrett comes as Bungie repositions for an uncertain future. Bungie's done. I think, I mean, as a company, obviously, they will continue to have a name because it's Sony. Sony's going to eat Bungie. It's already happening. Yeah, I agree. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but that's the best that came up for me. I think Bungie's is at least the Bungie that has been around for some time now is done. You know. I think it's easy to see that this is what happens whenever you have a situation where there are too many unfortunately too many people put in high positions of power that have no place being there. You know, we see it happen a lot, not just in the gaming industry, throughout all industries in the world. And it is a toxic thing. You know, it spreads like wildfire because usually what they do is they bring in their buddies. You know, it's very political. That they bring in all those other people that are going to help enable them to continue to do what they do and not raise you know, any concerns about it. You know, they set these environments up for themselves, and it inevitably always ends up, unfortunately, in a situation like this where the entire time it's been the mid to low level employees that are paying the price, having to deal with it. And then what happens, the company also starts faltering because finally, you know, things start breaking down. It's unfortunate, man. It really is. The news about Barrett comes as Bungie repositions for an uncertain future. Yeah. Leaders describe a period of overly ambitious expansion and misfires in a time of general economic precarity. Right, yeah. It's the economic issues right now that have really plagued Bungie. Get wrecked, dude. Okay? Get wrecked. Let me pull up something here. What was, I think I can probably pull it up on Steam. I mean, Destiny 2 is still, as a free-to-play game, the 34th ranked top-selling game on Steam. For 2021, Boom. Destiny 2. This is just Steam, yo. Just Steam. 2021. Platinum. Platinum. Destiny 2. 2022. Platinum. Destiny 2. 2023. Platinum. Destiny 2. Come on, man. And this is not the only platform that Destiny 2 is on either. Right? There's been a lot of mismanagement going on at Bungie for quite some time on a lot of different fronts, and it's finally coming to a head, you know? It sucks for all the people that work there. I'm sure it sucked for a long time, but this needed to happen. This feels really terrible. Nobody should be hiring Chris Barrett ever in any industry. This dude should be done. Done. Unacceptable.